concrete cowboys.
Alright, I think we're ready to rock and roll, baby.
Sick. Is this an alright angle? Can you see me?
I can see you, mate. Oh, fucking hell. Hello?
You need to tighten it on the thing.
You need to tighten it, mate.
Do you want me to tighten it?
No. Anyway,
Cheers.
cheers, biggies. Let's get it started.
Past that. Sundays, am I right?
Yeah, it's no working. Cheers.
Like I was saying before, it feels so annoying that I mean it's not that annoying, but that we only get like an afternoon to like do this, and then we'll have a couple of hours to chill, and then we just gotta go back.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Mate. Yeah, I know, it sucks, but you know, starting off with one a week isn't that bad, is it? We'll just have to
Yeah.
get cracking and shit with it.
I was thinking on the way up actually how we'd do it once we're in the new place.
Yeah. What did you think?
I was thinking we were going to dry up because all of we'd be like speaking and like say something funny that we think's funny that nobody else does, and be like, shit, we got to record, and then we'll get there and be like, it's gone.
Well, like after 3 weeks, they're just gonna have nothing to say.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Looking at each other like, good day.
Yeah, so we've heard the story about Australia.
Good day.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, obviously it won't be like that.
They fucking better
No.
not be, but we'll see how we go. I think we'd best to keep it at like a couple of days a week or something.
Yeah.
And keep it on a bit of a routine schedule before we can just start hammering into it.
That's the other thing I was thinking actually. If we did it 2 days a week, recorded 2 days a week, and then like worked on it, like the background stuff, 1 more day, 2 more days a week, then that's probably a good balance, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I was still laughing at that thing you were saying about how people are like, big things coming, man, watch out, and it's like a t-shirt.
Yeah, mate, I was dying. When did I think of that? I called you randomly in the morning, didn't I?
You must have thought of it when had you spoken to Jordan about doing the audio, and then you must have thought.
Yeah. Just for everyone that's listening to hear the joke again, because it is proper funny. It's terrible. It's not that funny. Yeah. So, don't you hate it when you're always on YouTube and you just come across this shitty little channel or some channel where you're pretty interested in it, or they're trying to build up, and they're always like, yeah, big things coming, whatever. We've got so much going on behind the scenes. Just stay tuned with us, waiting for next week's video. And next week comes along and they just brought out a t-shirt. And you're like, was this the big fucking thing? Come on, man.
For like 30 quid as well. You're like, I'm probably just going to get a plain one for a fiver.
Yeah. Unsubscribe.
But yeah, on that note, thanks Jordan for the audio.
Yeah.
Thanks Jordan for the YouTube video. And
yeah, Jordan wants to do some big things.
Jordan-
Really.
Jordan's getting too involved actually.
Yeah,
we need to speak about this.
Yeah, fuck off, Jordan.
He's now got a majority in the company.
He's got the biggest shareholder.
And then the intro, how did that come about?
So basically, I said to Jordan, could you do us like a little guitar intro?
Yeah.
You would have heard it on this thing as well once you listened to this. But
Yeah.
I wanted to put it on the podcast as well. But yeah, so I said to him, like, let's make a guitar version, because he plays guitar, so does Jess. But he's got all the recording equipment. And then I said, can you sing a little jingle with it as well? And he was doing it, and he was going, Concrete Cowboys. I said, no, Jordan. It didn't work out like this at all. No, I said I'll do a singing version of it, and I just fucking sang my heart out. The motherfucking concrete cowboy.
It's similar to that story of when
Can you just hold on a second there, because I was really in that moment. All right.
they've heard it already though. They heard it at the start. They don't want to hear it again.
Motherfucking concrete.
I think we should just leave it as a one-off.
Fuck you.
It's like that story that Jamie Foxx tells about when he meets Kanye West at a party.
Well, I've never heard that before.
You should listen to it. It's quite funny.
Alright.
But similar levels. I brought you a present.
You're kidding me.
/ presents.
No way.
Unless you've got another...
No, I'm fucking ready.
Yeah?
Yeah, come on.
Are you ready, though?
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm fucking ready for this. What, Father's
Books!
Hey, come on. I told you I need to start reading some.
Yeah. This is...
And now I'm accountable. Now I actually have to do it.
So I brought these ones that I read a while back, but kind of helped me get into reading because I was so shit at reading until fucking in my 20s. I can read.
Yeah, I know you can read.
But I just wasn't good at sitting down and reading books. And I brought these ones along for you to give it a go.
Thank you very much.
Because I want you to get reading as well. We're speaking about it. When did we speak about it? Last week.
Yeah.
When I was speaking to you and Jess about how important I think it is, how much it's done for me.
Yeah.
And I was thinking there was this time, right, where there was a personal trainer or a guy that ran a personal training course.
Right.
And he was trying to get me involved in the whole thing, trying to get me to do a course as well. And he was saying, he said something about your daily routine. And I was like, yeah, get up, read, go for a walk, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, great, what are you reading? And I was like, I'm reading a book on Vietnam, actually, which is one of these ones.
Yeah. Oh,
and he was like, okay, well, reading about Vietnam is not going to make you money, mate. And I kind of, for a while, I was like, oh shit, yeah, he's right. I've got to be reading about fucking...
mate, he put you in it and you believed what this guy was saying.
But then I was like, hold on. Let me take a step back because this is insane.
What made him say that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Did he look all confident and happy with himself?
Yeah. Loved
it,
it.
Man.
So, that first one is that Dispatches book.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Hurt,
Happy
which
birthday.
I recommended to you.
Yeah.
About the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best... I think it's one of the best books on the Vietnam War.
Really?
He's like a journalist or a photographer or something.
Yeah.
Shortest history of Europe.
Oh, yes, boy.
Little overview.
Yeah, after you started,
What happened?
I saw you reading... What's the Earth and the Sun pictures got to do with... Europe,
It's Europe, mate.
Yeah, when I saw you reading that Venice book,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck, I need to get into this.
Yeah, get into this whole Europe thing.
Europe. Europe. Are you kidding me?
This book, Switch, which is kind of like... It's not really a self-help book, but it's the same as that Atomic Habits book.
Yeah, I got that.
So, how to change things when things are hard.
Thank you.
Pretty good read. Eastern Horizons, this is probably one of my favourite, this Levison Wood guy who I told you about.
Oh,
so that's his journey along the Silk Road.
So I listened to him on the Jocko podcast.
Did you? Did you? No, I haven't.
Mate.
Sick.
Yeah, no, he's a good bloke.
Yeah?
Yeah, good bloke.
All round good bloke.
But yeah.
That's
proper interesting. But when you was telling you was telling me about his book.
Yeah.
About him walking around and just walking, how that was much more.
Oh, actually walking, yeah.
And stuff of
the
country wherever he was walking, but I didn't know it was him on the Jocko podcast, and he started talking about his travels through the army and and stuff like that, and then I was like, oh shit, I think this is the guy that Matt's talking about. And then I text you and I was like, yeah.
And then the last one is this book, Short Walks from Bogota or Bogota.
I've been there, mate.
Journeys in New Colombia. That's why I thought I'd give it to you.
Yeah. Perfect.
So yeah.
Thank you very much for this. Honestly,
right.
Thank you, because I need to get into it. Because I was saying to you last week that I just don't have. I do have the time, but it'll be just before I go to sleep where I can start reading and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because throughout the day I'm at work and I'm listening to things on thing, and when I'm working I'm listening to audiobooks, but I'm working as well, so I'm not fully taking it in. And when I read, there's only been a few books in my fucking life that I've actually physically read, and I can remember them. You know, when I went travelling, right? when I was in South America, that we was in Cuba or something like that, and this guy said, "Oh mate, are you going to Not Bosnia. That's not in South America. Are you going to
Bogota?
No, the other one that begins with a B.
Probably a
Is
few
it a
that
B?
begin with a B.
Fuck. Oh
Is
my
it a
god,
B?
I can't believe I can't believe I've forgotten this.
What? Where is it? In Cuba?
No, South America. So you got
Bolivia?
Bolivia. So this
Bosnia.
guy, so he was like, "You going to Bolivia?" Said yes, yeah. And he said, "Have you heard about this guy's story that was in prison there and stuff like
Oh,
this?"
right,
And I was
yeah.
like, "No." And he was like, "Read this book." And like, I've never fucking read a book like that, so I was forced into reading this book because he just gave it to me there, and we was there for the next week.
Was he just sitting there being like, "Read it then"?
Yeah. He was just staring at me the whole time. I'm like, "Fucking read it, mate. I gave you that." No, but man, I started reading it and I just got sucked in. A couple of days in Cuba, I was like, I'm not too bothered about going out today. I'm proper into this book. I had it was like weird for me.
Yeah.
Because before that, it was crazy. And now I can remember this guy's whole story. I can remember everything, not everything, but I can remember it in detail, parts of the thing where all those audio books that I've listened to, I can't tell you all the ins and outs of it like I did in this guy's thing. But I can't remember what book that was called. It's about a guy that gets done for drug smuggling in Bolivia, and he goes to the prison there. He starts... Well, anyway, he just lives in there, and it's about his little life, and it's a proper good book.
Yeah.
True story as well. But yeah, that was a good one. But...
Yeah, I mean, like when I first started, I honestly had to do I'd read like a page a day every morning just to get into it, and then I'd like extend it to 20 minutes, and then before I know it, I'm, like you say, sucked into these books. Like, can't wait to wake up, can't wait to be on a journey, and like I always have a book to read.
Yeah.
Because you do. It's like I was saying to you last week. Like, it's the most effective way to learn and the most accessible way to learn. Like, it's literally just right there, and you can be in Vietnam one week, and then you're reading the next book, and you're in Colombia, or you're going along the Silk Road, or whatever.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind every time.
Now, when I'm reading books, I have to be honest, sometimes I'm not taking it in.
Yeah.
And what is that?
It's just it's like that whole meditation thing, isn't it? Where other thoughts just kind of like slowly permeate into your conscience.
Yeah, but it's like tough to get it, to get really focused. And I'm reading these words, and I'm just sort of skimming, and I'm just like, I've just read a paragraph, and I don't know what I'm just reading words. I'm not taking anything in it. There must be something to that. There must be some way. I know you can get better at reading. Because I was listening to Tim Ferriss' podcast. Yeah. And he's actually got something on his website to help you sort of take in reading more. I think I was telling you about it a while ago. And I read through it, but I didn't go into it deeply. But it's definitely something that's going to help me out, because I'm just reading shit. Especially if I'm going to start reading through these guys. Yeah. I need to take some of it in. She's going to ask me questions about it.
Pop quiz every week.
You're going to be like that guy that I met in Cuba. It's just going to be like, are you fucking reading me?
The next podcast is just you reading and me sitting here.
And then...
Matt, what's this word? Yeah, but everyone... I don't think it matters what level of reading you're at. Everyone will suddenly be like, shit, I've just gone through half a page and didn't take any of that in.
Yeah. Oh, does that happen to you as well?
Yeah. You just got to restart and go back through it, really. Yeah. But yeah. Well, see how you like them.
I've got a little story as well. Thank you for giving me those books
You're
again.
welcome.
But I've got another little story for you.
Oh, yeah?
It sort of ties in somehow. I'm going to loosely tie it in.
Yeah, try.
I need to start believing in myself.
Okay.
Yeah? And you've told me this, and Jess has told me this before, and I would have looked at those books and been like, I fucking can't do that.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah. I thought you would be like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I need to start believing in myself, because I don't believe in myself.
Yeah.
Because I would normally look at pile of books and say, fuck that, that's just way too much hard work or something. But I can do it. I know I can read, you know? 2 level. But I had a bit of a weird moment the other night. It was Friday night. I'm in the gym. And I get to the end of the workout. And
what was the workout?
it was something to do with push press, rowing, and skipping and stuff like that. And
sick.
Skipping and rowing, I'm fine at. So it was like 50, I can't fucking remember what it was, right?
50, yeah.
50. And it was decreasing in numbers as you was going on. So it was 5 rounds or something like this. And I got to the end of the workout. And I said to the instructor, and I've been going to this gym for about a year now, and I don't really talk to anyone. Like, it's a bit like, yo, what's up, guys? Or whatever. And everyone's like proper in close together. And I went up to the trainer and I said, I'm starting to get pissed off. I said, I'm starting to get a bit embarrassed and I'm starting to get pissed off.
But is this how you went into the conversation?
Yeah, I was proper angry, man. I finished the workout and I was like, listen, I'm going to be honest, I'm starting to get pissed off with all this fucking... like, I can't lift heavy enough.
Right.
Yeah, and I can do it for 1 or 2 reps, but when it comes to a workout, I can't do it. So this trainer, she goes to me, she was like, yeah, but you're getting better, aren't you? I went, not really.
It's been a year.
Yeah, it's been a fucking year. It should be throwing the whole warehouse over my head, you know what I mean? And so as I'm saying it, as I'm putting the weights away, so I go back and I'm like, and she's like, you know, you are getting better, aren't you? And I go, kind of. And then I came back and she looks at me and she goes, do you know what I think your problem is? Like, proper serious, yeah? And I'm like, a bit taken back a little bit. And she goes, I don't think you believe in yourself enough.
Oh my God, she looked into your soul.
I looked at her and I went like this, like, I was like, what did you just fucking say to me, bitch? No, joking.
Defensive. Proper defensive though, right? Because it hit home.
I wasn't defensive.
No.
I was a bit like, yeah, I think you're right. Like, that I was taken back and I said, yeah, I think you're right. And then, mate, it's been playing on my head for the last couple of days. I haven't stopped fucking thinking about it because you tell me this.
Yeah.
So does Jess tell me this. But when she said it,
it's like external. Yeah.
I've never fucking said anything. Like, I don't even talk to her. She's not, like, we're not even close or...
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't really have the right to say that to me in a weird way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I would expect that from somebody close to me to say it. But when she said it, I was just stumped. I was like, fuck. And then it clicked that you said it before. Jess said it before. And I came home and I just kept on sort of thinking about it a little bit. And, yeah.
What was the first thought you had, though, when she said it? Were you straight away like, fuck, Jess and Matt has said this as well? Or were you like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was sort of like a realisation.
Oh, wow.
I sort of, like, put my head back a little bit, like, what? Like, oh. And I started nodding. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I need to start. But yeah, that was...
And just walked out, like, shoulders slumped.
Yeah.
See you later, everyone.
Oh, fucking hell. See you later.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry for not lifting more.
But yeah, that was something that's happened this week.
So what do you think the secret is to getting your self-belief up?
I don't know. I went to the gym today and I lifted as heavy as I possibly could. That was it, mate. I'm on top of the world, baby. Oh, shit. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's just going to have to be a consistent effort of trying to tell myself, hey, I can put those weights up a little bit more. But it also has a much bigger impact. It's not just about the weights.
No, of course, yeah. These things tend to kind of permeate into other aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Like the fucking reading.
Yeah.
But yeah, like as I said, I was in exactly the same position, so is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so that took me back a little bit this week.
But that was only Friday.
That was Friday, so
this is a shit end of the week,
Thursday,
but
it was, like,
it was sick.
Mental.
You've just been working though, right?
Yeah, working.
Double shifting again.
Working and jerking at the same time.
It's horrible, really. You're on camera as well in that van.
That door, huh? Let's keep it moving. They say we can't multitask. Come on. Come on! Oh, shit. Anyway, so today, we was thinking about like last week, we were having this conversation about what we want to do for the next podcast and what we want to talk about and stuff. And then I had an epiphany that you are pretty much a guru in the field of grit.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't say that, but I've done a paper on it.
Yeah, so you've done a thesis on grit.
Yeah.
How did you get to writing this paper? So tell me how you I don't know, you tell me in your own words what's really education level, or did you have this in your head that you've always been thinking about it, or how did it come about?
You're right, it's kind of a combination of the two, because so the course I did at the University of Amsterdam, the master's degree, was an MSc in development and health psychology.
Right.
So it's kind of looking at, I'm not sure if I've said this before on the podcast, but it's looking at the psychology of populations rather than individuals, and how you can kind of, I guess, use behavior change in a way, but more to do with cognition and kind of like population level thinking to improve people's health. And so it kind of tied in everything I wanted to learn about psychology alongside like healthy behaviors like exercise, nutrition, things like that. And so it came up when I was applying for all of these master's degrees. The Netherlands have like a real focus on psychology in specific areas. And really? So it was just like the perfect match of being able to go to Amsterdam and being able to do this course. So then the third term of the year of the master's, which was a year long, was doing this thesis. And I got a call from my supervisor just being like, what do you want to do? And I was like, yeah, I've got no idea.
Really?
So like any help would be much appreciated.
Oh, fuck.
Because they were like, you know, kind of 3 months before you start, and it's a 3-month thesis. So 6 months before the end of the course, they're like, okay, and obviously start thinking about your thesis, thinking about what you want to do. And with the bachelor's degree, it's probably not like this for everyone, but when I was doing the psychology course at Leicester, the field in which you could do your dissertation was quite narrow. So it was basically like an option. Either you do it on this or you do this.
Oh, right.
Whereas the masters, they're just like, what do you want to do?
Right, okay.
And so she was like, okay, so what are you interested in? Like, you're quite into your fitness and things like that, aren't you? So I was like, yeah, definitely, but I'm just not sure how I can tie it in with everything. And she said, right, there's this one of her colleagues who was at the University of, it's like the Vrij University, I think. It's another one in Amsterdam. She's done work into the success of hockey players and like what's behind their success in terms of
hockey?
No, field hockey, because it's big in Netherlands. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So she said, yeah, she's done some research into what makes hockey players successful, and I can't remember specifically what she's looked at, but I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting to think about what makes a professional player successful. And then I was like, okay, so how could I apply that to the general population to kind of support any kind of public health? And so it's kind of a question of, okay, these professional players, like they're 1 in a million, and it takes this and this to become a successful professional sportsman. But what if you're just the average guy that wants to lose a bit of weight or get fitter or come back from some sort of injury? Like, how do you essentially create a blueprint for you in order to be successful? And then this is where grit came into it, because then I started to think about my own experience and thought kind of, okay, well, what's gotten me through previous physical challenges in the past, whether it's football or the competition or whatever. And it was just like sticking at it and that consistency of effort over a long period of time. So I started to look into it a bit more and was like, okay, yeah, grit. There were studies out there that looked at grit in professional players, professional sportsmen, but also other areas like work, the military, chess players, things like that, where it was kind of like, yeah, this concept of grit is a key indicator of success in their field.
Right.
So the research was already out there. And then I had to kind of, like, you have to do something original and something one step along. So then what I started to look at was grit in combination with something called interoceptive awareness. So the title of the thesis is "To have grit is not enough, the role of interoceptive awareness in achieving success in physical training." So it's the introduction to it, and I'll go into the background. It's quite long-winded because I kind of outline what grit is, outline what interoceptive awareness is, and outline why I think the two come together to create success in physical training.
Right.
And then that was what my thesis was on. So I kind of like half found what my hypotheses were, and it turned out to be a really good study.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that all your Amsterdam professors were like really bigging you up a little bit and saying that you should probably publish this.
Yeah, there was a point where I was going to publish it and then or work with them to publish it, my two supervisors. And then COVID hit, and obviously they just had priorities and bigger issues.
Right.
So it just didn't happen. But it's one of those things. So I read back through it because I honestly couldn't remember for the life of me what I had done this thesis on.
Fucking hell, really?
I think I have these moments with big pieces of work. I almost like erase them from my memory.
You're probably just in the flow of it.
Yeah.
Have you ever read that book, The War on Art, or The Art of War?
The Art of War, no.
Yeah, you're probably just in the flow.
Is that one you've listened to?
Yeah, listen to that one. It's only a short one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like 5 hours long or something.
Oh, okay.
But it just talks about like people getting in that workflow and just grinding and,
right.
and stuff like this. Just keeping it going, but you almost feel like you're in something. It's
Yeah.
just you're going with the work, but you're not necessarily... You're just working.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean? And you're not maybe taking it in as much as you probably think you...
Yeah.
You like looking back on it, you've probably forgotten a few things.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask is, you said you was... When you was studying before this and you look at going into psychology and stuff, you was looking at it through mass populations.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at grit as more of an individual effort.
Yes, but with the within the context of being like, essentially the point of my master's is to say, can we teach people these tools, grit and interoceptive awareness, in order to improve population health?
Right, okay.
So it's like, if these are two tools that coaches or public health or someone can grasp and understand how to teach to people, are they effective in reducing obesity, whether that's in children or adults, in terms of teaching them exercise, how to stay healthy, just live a healthy lifestyle.
I want to get onto that.
Yeah.
But first of all, I think we need to explain what the fuck is grit.
Yeah. It's so weird because I started this and people would be like, "Oh, what's your thesis on?" And I'd say grit, and they'd be like, "What?" And it was strange to me because I heard it since childhood, really, and I think it's probably an American phrase, first of all.
Right, really?
I think so. Because they always talk about players being gritty and things like that, or you've got to have grit to kind of achieve goals.
That's more of just like a word that's thrown out there a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how I always seen it, because for me, you could explain having grit as determination, persistence, and how does grit differ from that, or is it a combined components of that becomes grit?
Yeah, so it was originally this woman called Angela Duckworth who first kind of defined the term grit.
Yeah, I've been listening to a little bit of her.
Yeah.
Shout out, Angela.
Shout out. And it's as recent as kind of 2005, 2007 that it started kind of coming into popular psychology and being recognized as something that's actually measurable and therefore attributable to success.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the research done is on kind of physical pursuits, but it's also been recognized in other areas as well. So the term, I always heard grit being thrown around,
right?
And I thought it was just like determination and things like that, which it is to some degree, but it has like a proper definition. So grit is a trait often displayed in those who are committed to pursuing success. It is a synergistic interaction between a consistent passion for a goal and the persistent effort needed to work towards it. So it's like you have a long-term goal, and it could be decades down the line. If you're a young kid and you want to become a footballer, that's a decade at least. Whether you're training for the Olympics, that's 4 years. So it's this idea that someone has a long-term goal. Do they have the consistency to keep that passion for that goal combined with persistent effort in order to do what's needed to be done?
So just day in, day out sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you've got doesn't necessarily have to be like or is it all? I'm guessing all the time it's not always just that far off goal. It could just be the goal of next week and that you sort of keep it going sort of thing. It's just over a long stretch of time, and just keeping structured and disciplined in whatever you want to do. Yeah.
But then, so what you've got to look at is, so those small wins each week, what is the like superordinate goal of achieving those things each week? Because then you kind of get into the basic human needs, which is like social interaction, to feel valued, to feel like you're consistently learning things. And so it's these overarching concepts where it's like, okay, each week you're wanting to achieve this little thing. What is that little thing? What bigger thing is that little thing a part of?
Right, okay. And so someone with grit or a lot of grit, or do you always have your eye on that long-term goal?
The idea is that it may not be an eye, it may be subconscious, but that's always there.
Right. So you have something in the... Yeah. I was listening to Angela Duckworth on a TED Talk and a TED interview, which was really interesting. I've listened to a couple of them, and I also listened to some Carol Dweck.
Yeah.
That was really interesting as well. Did you do a lot of study on those guys before you jumped into the thesis? Or
so you have to do like a period of kind of background research. And those were the two that I kind of focused on, because the idea of grit came from... So grit overall, you can look at it as just long-term learning and skill development, because you've got this goal in mind and you're like, okay, well, how the fuck do I get there? You've got to keep learning along the way, particularly learning about yourself, which is what this thesis is about. And you've got to keep developing whatever skills you need in order to reach that goal.
Mm.
So the idea of grit came from, I can't remember whether she's professor or doctor, but Dweck, who coins the phrases, is it goal-oriented mindset and fixed mindset? Growth mindset. So the idea is that someone who is gritty would have a growth mindset approach to achieving their goal.
Mm.
If you've got a fixed mindset, you're like looking at things from your perspective and you're fixed in your ways. You have certain characteristics, certain capabilities, and if those capabilities don't match what your goal is, then that's it. You're not going to achieve them. The idea of a kind of growth mindset is that not in like a kind of like hippie way, but you can achieve anything you want to through persistent learning and development.
That's what I'm proper interested in.
Yeah.
Because I not all the time, because there's a certain level of luck that goes into things, but this daily sort of grind of day in, day out for a long term, for bettering yourself in the long term, or getting somewhere that you want to get.
Yeah.
That's very appealing to me and you, I think. I think we're both quite like that sort of mindset.
But this is why it was so like incredible to me that I got to study this for a thesis. Like usually you're doing work and you just don't give a fuck what the outcome is. You just want to get a good grade or even just get through it.
Yeah.
And then this was like, you're studying the thing that you're actually interested in implementing yourself.
So was it hard to get through all this, or did you enjoy the process?
It was horrible because I was like living by myself in Amsterdam, and like we spoke about on the last podcast, just going through that fucking horrible dark place.
Did it take a lot of grit to do it?
Clearly. But like, the work was so interesting. It was just really intense, and I was completely unsure about how I was going to carry out the study. I didn't even know what the study would look like, and so everything was kind of like pushed right to the wire. But somehow managed to get it done in the 3 months, and then get good mark for it. So the kind of background for it is pretty long-winded, but the idea is that a gritty individual can translate a consistent motivation into achievement through their cognitions and behaviours. So it then became the idea of, okay, how do you tie in your thought process to your behaviours?
Okay. Can I, sorry, just stop you there. I don't want to interrupt, but how do you measure it?
This is what I'll kind of get to, and this was, I guess, one of the limitations of the report is that they were all self-reported surveys.
Right, okay.
The other studies that I kind of reference in here used, so GRIT's just a survey that you score yourself on, and you say whether somebody's gritty or not gritty or in between. This interoceptive awareness, which I'll get onto, studies have done it before where they measure heart rate or heartbeat discrimination and things like that. But obviously I didn't have access to that, so just had to do it all through surveys.
Right, okay.
So the whole study was 125 people participated in this survey. And I'll get onto what was in the survey in a bit, but that's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, it was a limitation because these findings may not necessarily point towards what my conclusions are, but at the same time, just because there are a couple of findings in here that are non-significant doesn't mean it's not the case, because maybe I'm not conducting the research in the right way.
Right, yeah.
And that somebody with access to more resources could do it properly.
What are the resources that you would need to get a better understanding?
Probably like those heartbeat trackers and things like that.
Right, okay.
Because it's so focused on physical training. So after looking at Duckworth and Dweck's work, there was another psychologist called Erickson who coined the phrase deliberate practice. And this is the idea of engaging in behaviours that kind of build towards that long-term goal in the future. And so these are the practices that gritty people are engaging in. So they're deliberately putting themselves in situations that push them slightly out of their comfort zone in order to get better, to develop their skills, to learn more about themselves, and then to eventually to reach that goal, whatever the goal may be. So then my thinking kind of draws to, okay, so there's people are getting involved in this deliberate practice and these behaviours. How do they know what's pushing them slightly out of their comfort zone, enough for them to learn, but not too far out of their comfort zone where it's unsustainable, and they start running into things like overtraining and fatigue and things like that.
Right.
So far we've got these gritty people, and it's like, okay, amazing, you've got this passion and you're consistent in all of your behaviors, you're always thinking about it, this is amazing. But what's stopping these people from burning out and then not achieving their goal?
Right.
So this is where my study started to take things one step further than the research that already shows that grit is linked to success in physical training. And it started to look at how people conduct themselves in a sustainable manner. So it's the act of balance.
So you're looking at their personality traits as the...
Personality traits come into it, yeah. So,
or are you talking about just physical?
A bit of both, really. But what I bring into it is interoceptive awareness, which is the understanding of your body's reaction to a certain stimuli.
And does it align with the goal that you want it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So Herbert and colleagues found that grit was a stable predictor of retention rate in the American military, and that this was linked to the big 5 personality factor of conscientiousness, which is individuals who are reliable, industrious, and organized. So we kind of have these combinations of behavior and cognitions the whole time. And so what this is trying to look at is, what are people's thought processes and what are their decision-making strategies that are feeding into their gritty personality? So it's almost like we're going back a layer. So you've got grit here, you've got behavior here. We want to go back a layer from grit to understand what goes into their thinking.
To genetics.
No, that's the next step back. Genetics is a separate thing. Like, you look at fucking Michael Jordan as an example.
Yes.
And it's like, yes, this guy's gritty, but if he didn't have the genetics, would he have made it?
But couldn't you put genetics... Couldn't you put grit as a genetic?
It's like a non-cognitive personality trait. So it's in there, like everything is related to our genetics and DNA. Mm-hmm. But in terms of physical genetics, there's got to be an element of that for somebody to be successful in sports.
Right, okay.
So it's definitely there, you're right.
But some people find it harder, or?
Some people, like, their personality traits maybe just don't, or they're predisposed to personality traits that don't quite align with being this industrious, reliable, organised individual.
Right, okay.
But that's not to say that people don't turn out to be determined in a certain field and are gritty at one aspect of their life or whatever. So yeah, it's the idea of what are these decision-making strategies and cognitive strategies that people use to kind of maintain their level of grit. And it's unclear what they are. The research doesn't yet say what those cognitive strategies are.
Right.
So then that's how I got onto the idea of interoceptive awareness, because you've probably had it before when you're quite fatigued or overtrained or whatever, and your body's just crying out for rest.
Yeah.
So my thinking got onto the topic of, okay, well, if gritty people were able to listen to their body more than just ordinary people who don't necessarily have grit, is that the kind of key to long-term success?
Right.
Like, anyone can get short-term success by hammering themselves for 4 weeks, but after that, when you're run down and fucked up, you take your foot off the gas and it doesn't work out. So these people are kind of just slightly pushing themselves out of their comfort zone, and then for some reason able to keep it there, not overexert themselves. And so the ability to recognize and subsequently interpret changes in our internal physical state is an embodied cognition known as interoceptive awareness. So you're almost going inward and being able to recognize how your current physical state lies in terms of a long-term goal. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
So then the idea behind my research was, okay, how do these two things combine?
And are they, sorry,
no,
like
go for
attributes of grit? Or are you looking at it as a whole? Because I would say that if somebody has the ability to be a bit more self-aware of that's more of like an attribute of grit rather than grit itself. Is this just another...
What do you mean?
Because you want to measure, so you want to see how that can affect them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how what's going to take this person further than the next person.
Yeah.
And if you're measuring if they're a bit more self-aware, is that like an additional part of grit that could make you go a bit further, or is that also part of being it?
No, so that's this interoceptive awareness is a separate cognitive concept.
Right, okay, yeah.
That I was postulating feeds into grit.
Right, my bad.
No, it's not your bad.
I'm sure you said it, I'm just a bit lost.
No, it's all good. So if grit's this ball, I'm saying what cognitions are feeding into it.
Right.
And I'm saying this self-awareness, I reckon, is a key determinant of how gritty people achieve their goals.
So they can almost take like a back step.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So studying this was kind of a bit of a strange one because you're talking about an embodied cognition, which already it's like, okay, how do you measure something like that? And then we didn't have the resources, so it all had to be a kind of survey. But to investigate the relationship between interoceptive awareness and grit, I used long-term fitness goals as like the end product.
Yeah.
And so I put it all into something called a moderated mediation analysis.
Say that one more time.
Which
Say that really fast.
I'll actually show you a diagram of. But what I wanted to find with the research, which were my 3 hypotheses, were that grit directly predicts individual fitness success. So if you had a goal, depending on where you are in terms of grit, the higher you are on that grit scale, the more likely you are to achieve your fitness goal.
Yes.
Right? So that's one.
Yes.
And that's already been found by previous research in sportsmen, military.
Does it also happen in business as well? Like, so it being how successful you are, that's having grit is probably one of the most common attributes that all these successful people and successful in sports have.
Yeah. The only difference is that they've studied it in sport. They haven't studied it in business. But
right. Okay. Yeah.
It's almost like logical to think that it would help.
Well, something that I was quite interested in is when I was listening to that Angela Duckworth and Carol Dweck, that they didn't do it within business, but they did it within learning.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're talking about kids with a growth mindset, and they did the marshmallow test. And
I
heard about that when they put one marshmallow in front of a kid, and they say you'll get a second one.
Yeah.
If you wait.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Delayed gratification.
Yes. Obviously. Sorry, what was I saying?
Marshmallow. Duckworth.
Yes, so they're talking about it within a learning capacity rather than a physical attribute, a physical goal. But I'm guessing that will tie in to business as well for their learning.
Yeah. I mean, learning's at the root of everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
and it will also help with physical as well.
Yeah.
Right? But Angela Duckworth, she teaches maths in school, and she went into Harlem, I think it was, in Brooklyn, Harlem, or New York, Harlem, or something like that. I don't know where it is. But she took a class there that was really bad on the, like, where they stood within the state and stuff like that. And she took them to the top class within a certain region or something like that. Like, that just shows that this is all... Potentially, you could really drill this into kids to make them a more grittier person
Yeah.
in the long run. But that's something I was really interested in, but we'll come on to that.
No, you're right though, because it's a weird idea to like say a kid needs to be gritty, but once you understand like the concept of what grit is, and all it is that it's consistent effort combined with a persistent passion for something, then you can apply it to almost anything.
Yeah.
But it's used usually in sports to be like, oh yeah, this guy's really gritty, he gets the job done, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely applicable throughout. So that's what studies have shown already, and that's my kind of like level 1 hypothesis. Like if I find this out, then I can build onto the next ones. So my second hypothesis was grit indirectly predicts individual fitness success, partially mediated by general level of physical activity. So I was saying that grit can predict fitness success, but I also think that grit can predict general level of physical activity. So just moving around day to day, just whatever you do through the day that's not deliberate. I'm trying to work out to lose weight or gain muscle or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
And that then leads to fitness success.
So just being active on a day, like it doesn't need to be anything really. It could be just walking around, going to the shop and stuff like that. The more you do in general alongside your physical attributes, that's a good determination of how well or far they'll go as an athlete. And I was,
just towards their goal as like a average Joe.
Right, okay.
Because I was trying to draw on the idea that there's this kind of long-term goal in the distance that you're always kind of subconsciously focused on. And I reckon that subconscious translates itself as just being more physically active day to day.
Right, okay, yeah.
Because I reckon at some stage in your decision-making process, you're like, oh, maybe I'll walk to the shops instead of getting the bus because at the end of the day, I'm trying to reach this goal or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I was predicting that gritty people would do that.
That's true though, because you get those fucking people that are just out here taking buses. You know what I mean? They're walking down to the shops every day when they don't have to. They've got a car and stuff. Do you think that's something else that you could have measured? Like those physical people that I don't walk down to Tesco's and carry it up the hill because I got a car, but some people do have a car, and they still go down there. They'll go do this or whatever it is. Is that something that's sort of linked into it as well?
Well, because that was one of the surveys we did was
okay.
General level of physical activity day to day.
Right.
So it was kind of looking at that. And then the third hypothesis was bringing in this interoceptive awareness and saying that interoceptive awareness moderates the indirect effect of grit on fitness success, mediated by general physical activity.
You're gonna have to break that one down.
I'm going to show you I'm going to show you a diagram because that will help.
I like pictures.
Let me find it. But basically, the survey consisted of 4 surveys, so it's quite long. But it was the grit short scale that Duckworth and Quinn created in 2009 to measure your level of grit.
Who's Quinn?
Don't worry, just focus on Duckworth. It was then the squash, which is the short questionnaire to assess health-enhancing physical activity that's used by the Dutch government to measure your general physical activity day to day. So the government gives you guidelines like you should be exercising
an hour a day.
Yeah, something like that. So they've attributed numbers to physical activity, and then you get given that number at the end of all of it and said, yeah, you're active or not, suitably active or not. So then that was measuring that general physical activity aspect, the indirect factor. Then you're measuring people's interoceptive awareness, which is consisting of noticing. So I notice when I'm uncomfortable in my body. Not distracting, I try to ignore pain. Not worrying, I am in discomfort or pain, I can't get it out of my mind. Attention regulation, I can return awareness to my body if I'm distracted. Emotional awareness, I noticed how my body changes when I'm angry. Self-regulation, I can use my breath to reduce tension. Body listening, I listen to my body to inform me about what to do. And trust, I'm at home in my body. So it's all of these factors that are basically saying like how much you listen to your internal goings on.
So that's a survey.
Yeah.
And at the end of that survey, does it almost give you a score of how you...
Yeah, so then I had to create a formula to say, so-and-so got this on the grit scale, this on the squash, this on the interoceptive awareness survey.
Right.
Attribute numbers to each one. And then I created a formula which basically spits out a number, assigns a number to each participant.
1 out of 100 or something.
And then
like
puts them on a scale. Yeah, it was at, I can't remember what it was. But
is there anywhere someone can do that now?
No.
You don't have that up there?
I have the appendix. You could still do it if you wanted to.
Okay, let's put it up there.
Yeah.
People might be interested in it.
So then this moderated mediation analysis looks like this. So firstly, don't know if we could like show the camera or something, but that's a moderation analysis. So I'm saying that grit predicts fitness success, and I'll just talk through it. So it's a triangle.
Yeah, if you can show it up there eventually.
Try and show it.
Pause it. Dickon.
Oh shit. So I'm saying grit predicts fitness success directly, yeah?
Yes.
Then I'm saying grit Then I'm saying grit indirectly predicts fitness success through general physical activity.
You're linking it.
Yeah.
I get it, yeah.
And then I'm saying grit predicts physical activity and then fitness success. So this indirect effect, which is moderated by interoceptive awareness. So imagine you had a scale. How successful gritty people are is directly proportional to the level of interoceptive awareness they have.
All right, this is interesting. You've got to slow it down just slightly because this is quite crucial for my own brain.
So imagine you had a scale of interoceptive awareness.
Yeah, so how...
At the bottom, people aren't aware of their body. They don't know what's going on.
I'm a fat fuck.
They're not listening.
Yeah.
At the top, people are so in tune that they're able to, and studies have shown this, which was in my research, they're able to exert just the right amount of effort to get to a goal or attain a prize or whatever it is in the study. But then they're able to, without measuring, reduce their own exerted effort in order to not push themselves too hard.
Right, okay.
So it's almost like they've got this sixth sense of like, right, my heartbeat's raised a bit here. I just need to ease off the gas a little bit and I'll still be able to
get the job done.
Achieve whatever goal it is, yeah. So that's top of the scale.
Does that, sorry to...
No, it's all right.
Does that almost go into just general day life as well? Because... you know, whenever you get all motivated and you're going crazy for like a week and then you get to that end of the week and you're just like, fucking hell, I can't keep this up. So sometimes it's best to be quite aware of what's going on. You always hear about those people that give up after a week and they don't get back into it.
Yeah.
That's almost going way too hard.
Yeah.
So this is... sorry, say the word for me.
Interoceptive awareness.
Awareness, that's the one.
Yeah. But this is what's so interesting is that I've spent years fucking killing myself, overtraining, reaching that end of the week, being so fatigued.
Yeah.
And then just either stuffing my face or just not being the same the next week.
Yeah, right.
And then when I was doing all this background research, I was like, holy shit.
You're not being very introspective.
Exactly. So you've got that scale, right?
Mate. This is embarrassing.
You've got that scale.
Yeah.
I'm saying, take all of the gritty people in a group.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are most interoceptively aware, the most in tune with their body, are more likely to achieve their goal.
They can almost pace themselves.
those that are gritty but don't have that high level of interoceptive awareness may get their goal. It may take longer. They may not reach it to the extent that they want to. They'll still get it. They're still gritty and they're still pursuing it.
Yeah.
But without that kind of like internal audit that some people are able to do, they're not going to reach like the height of their goal.
Right. Okay.
So that was what I was studying.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So then these people did this survey.
I was one of them.
Yeah, you were. How did you find it?
Good fun. It was a good laugh.
It was fucking long, wasn't it? Because I was sitting there waiting for people
I'm
to
so
do
glad you said that.
waiting for people to do it in the gym. And I was like, fuck. I'd say in here it takes about 10 to 15 minutes. I think it took like half an hour.
You're just looking at the people.
Yeah.
Are you finished yet?
Ooh, poor score from you. That's all right.
You're not very introspective, are you?
Okay, so then on to the findings. So I found, first of all, that grit does directly and indirectly influence fitness success. So that triangle we had, both of the arrows, it directly predicts fitness success. So gritty people are more likely to achieve their goal.
Yeah.
And they're also more likely to achieve their goal through an increased level of physical activity.
Right, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
So both quite interesting. And then we brought in the interoceptive awareness stuff, so the moderated mediation analysis. And we found that interoceptive awareness did not significantly moderate the indirect effect of grit through general physical activity on fitness success. So that indirect path to fitness success, interoceptive awareness didn't have an impact on how grit led to general physical activity. So you essentially didn't need to look internally into your kind of like visceral state as a gritty person to increase your general physical activity.
Okay.
But what we did find was that the direct effect of grit on success was significant at the second quartile and the third quartile. So the top 50% who scored, so the people in the study who scored the top 50% on the interoceptive awareness survey, they were more in tune with their body. Their grit, their level of grit was more likely to predict their fitness success.
Right, okay.
So we basically found that interoceptive awareness does play a role in gritty people's success.
But you've got to be more gritty?
You've got to be more interoceptively aware.
Right, okay, yeah.
So then it kind of begs the question, what, if general physical activity isn't a part of this equation because there was no significance, what is? And then that's where it comes on to the idea of self-control and what you mentioned about the marshmallow test.
Yeah.
So we're saying, okay, maybe general physical activity isn't a part of it, but
Right,
self-control might. Because self-control is kind of like what's in the here and now.
Yes, but you're looking at the long term.
And grit's what's in the future.
Yeah, okay.
So if you're able to, like you said right at the start, those week-to-week goals, if you're able to have that level of self-control where you are able to keep yourself in check and get those small wins, do people with more interoceptive awareness utilize that in their gritty pursuit of a long-term goal in order to achieve it? And I predict that they will, but that's where kind of further research needs to be done.
Right, okay.
So then that basically brings it to the end, really. So I found...
So, sorry, did you do any interviews or anything with anyone that's an athlete?
No.
Because that would be really interesting,
It would be, yeah. It was, my initial idea was to interview athletes.
Because imagine if you had someone that wants to be an Olympian or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you could see what it takes to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
What separates them from just a normal person? I know I'm going off topic because this isn't what you were studying, but it's quite interesting. Because,
No, that's exactly, yeah.
Because I'm sure it's very boring. I'm sure they're just getting it done, and they've got one singular focus, and that's to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
And every single week or month or however they do it, I'm sure there's a big connection between all other Olympians, that it's just grinding all the time, very much, but also just having that long term, I want to be an Olympian. I know whatever it takes, it has to be an Olympian. I need to keep that up. And it's almost like you can compare it to somebody that wants to lose weight. Hey, I want to lose half a pound every week.
Yeah.
But in the long run, I want to be shredded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting if you're looking at actual people. It's almost a bit of a balancing act, because you could go to someone and say, hey, just lose half a pound a week, man. I go, okay, how many weeks you going to do that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How many weeks? What, you're going to do that for 2 months?
Yeah.
That's not going to get you to the goal, because you want to be shredded on the beach.
And that's the difficulty with, like, the kind of, whether it's fitness industry or not, but it's like people just want things so quickly, right? That everything now is like a 12-week plan to a fucking summer body, beach body.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not like that.
This is a lifetime.
Yeah.
This is a grind.
Particularly for people who are severely or morbidly obese, it's a complete lifestyle change.
Yeah.
So it can't just be like, okay, now I'm going to start going to the gym 3 times a week and that will be sorted.
Yeah.
It's changing habits, it's changing food choices, it's changing environmental factors. It's like you're an addict, basically, and you've got to
literally
remove the triggers.
Change your fucking chemical patterns and whatever it is. But you've literally got to change all of that.
But that was exactly the idea of this study. How can you apply what athletes do in order to achieve their success to the general population? Because the general population is increasingly getting bigger and bigger.
And ungrittier.
This
is something I wanted to talk to you about.
Go on.
Like, how do you think, like, in today's society and today's culture, how much have we changed? How much has our grit decreased in the Western sort of world? Because just to get a little bit deeper, like, back in 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 3,000, just to be alive, you've got to be gritty.
Yeah.
And that's almost got us to where we are today.
Yeah.
As having that, not all the time, but majority of people, it's hard. You got to eat, you got to hunt, you got to live, and you got to be gritty every single day. It's not like we're so soft and ungritty now.
Yeah.
Everything's so easy. Could this almost be a bit of a downfall?
Yeah, because you can just get whatever you want at the click of your fingers, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need to be gritty.
Yeah, but this is why we almost put those gritty people on pedestals. We see an Olympian and we're like, hey, this guy is doing the damn thing. Or you look at this business person and like, hey, this guy's fucking rich. Look at Jeff Bezos. Do you think Jeff Bezos is gritty?
Yeah, it has to be, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think he's got a real fucking... his level of grit compared to someone like me? You reckon there's a massive contrast and difference? Or is just grit a small little attribute?
Yeah, it's definitely a smaller attribute of a much bigger picture.
Right, okay. I think it's like the be all and end all.
Yeah.
Give me some grit.
but yeah, like loads of different factors will come into it, but I definitely see where you're coming from. And in terms of kind of like physical fitness, because we don't even need to be physically fit anymore, it's just kind of fallen by the wayside, and you just don't need to be too bothered about it. So then that's you're right. Like when we see athletes and they're like, they train every day. It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah, and why is that a big deal for someone like them? Because they've got their goal.
Yeah.
Now, what I also want to talk to you about is, because you were dealing with large groups of people, what do you think is a good idea for us to sort of teach kids this, or even teach our population grit and how to get this back? Because we're clearly losing it, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
So is there a way for, you must have thought about this, thinking as like a population a dynamic, and looking at it hey, like there's how many people in this country? 65, 70 million?
Yeah.
70 million people in England. How do we get our population to be that little bit more grittier?
Yeah, and I think it probably has to start with education, which means you almost rule out the adult population.
Yeah, but
you just say,
well, you
guys fucked up, so you're done.
But they didn't fuck up. It's just that
no,
whoever's
obviously
running this shit's
although
fucking
some
up.
fucked up. But it's not really like public policy or...
That's what I mean. Do you think it should be?
I don't know, because then you start getting into the realms of lack of freedom and liberties and things like that. If people want to be fat and sit on the sofa, then they can. That's completely up to them.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's something we should teach our kids to do necessarily.
You don't think it's a good idea to install some grit qualities?
Yeah, in terms of from like an educational perspective.
Yeah, but also just as a parental.
Yeah.
Like you see your little kid struggling, you're like automatically you want to help them out and stuff.
Yeah.
Like other countries don't necessarily do that. That's more of our society, Western society.
Yeah.
When if you're looking at China and stuff, they're like, hey, this little guy can just let him figure it out, sort of thing. Is that a way to cultivate grit?
It would be, but then these things just aren't going to happen.
Right. Okay.
Like, you're not going to change the behaviours and thoughts of the adult population to a large extent.
Right.
Some people change, most people won't, I don't think, because they don't need to. It's
maybe if they want to. If let's just say I have a kid in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be very... Whenever if I can get it, I don't know. 3 years, that's all I got.
It's a shock.
I am going to be very aware of the psychological benefits that I want to give my child.
Yeah.
And if everybody had a bit more of a awareness of this, do you think it could raise the whole population's, not just grit, but, struggling a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you think that could benefit us?
I think it could, but I think that's a very, idealistic point of view to take, because there are, like I said, there are just so many other factors.
Yeah.
There's so many other things to think about that I really don't know. There's a section in this which is called the societal impact of my research, and I kind of sum it up.
Well, if you want to finish off you're coming towards the end of your thesis, and then we'll get into my weird brain and how that works. Right?
Okay, so I'll where is it there? So I'll read a couple of things just from the kind of summing up points. So we postulated that the trait grit predicts success in fitness as it increases an individual's propensity to maintain relatively high general physical activity levels. We extended the proposed model to suggest that interoceptive awareness is a component in the decision-making process, which facilitates the causal relationship between grit and fitness success. And that's the thing that we kind of half found.
You're hurting my head. Man, you're hurting my brain. I'm being serious. I don't know how you do this. Whenever you read out things that you've done in the past and stuff like that, it's just in general day-to-day life, I'm like, how the hell does these words come out of your head? I'm being serious. I would never write anything like that. I know I'm dumb, but I don't even know.
You will do. After you read those books, you'll be writing a thesis for the sake of it.
But could you sort of lay that out in a bit more layman? Let's take a step back a little bit and put it in a bit more layman's terms.
Yeah, so this is just what we found. So we're saying that grit predicts success in fitness.
Yeah.
Grit predicts higher levels of general physical activity.
Yeah.
Which then, by association, predicts success in fitness.
Yeah.
So we're saying there's that indirect effect. And then we're saying that although interoceptive awareness didn't wasn't modulating the level of general physical activity. So it wasn't saying people who are more interoceptively aware are more physically active day to day. We did find that it impacts how grit predicts fitness success.
Right.
So those are just what the findings of the report are. So that grit is a predictor of fitness success, and that interoceptive awareness plays some sort of role in that prediction.
It seems like you're almost making an equation.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
It took me that long to figure that out. No, but it's, this is what I like about it. That's how I would go down the route of it. I get really weird. Like, I would probably think about, like, trying to install an indirect... let's say you've got your goal isn't fitness, it's something else, whatever goal you want. So you need a direct goal, yeah, but you also need your indirect to get you there. So those two things, you almost I go down a route of, could you install that into somebody's head and you could make them more gritty, or make them smart, like make them really reach their goals. Because you get so many people that come to you and say, hey, I want to do this is my goal and stuff, but you've almost created a somewhat equation. I know indirect is pretty hard to get going in general life, because it's almost you can't, there's nothing you can do about it really. It's just you either have it or you don't. But you could almost, if you're aware of it, of these two, directly and indirect, plus introspective awareness, you have an equation to success.
That's exactly the conclusion I came to for the impact on society.
Right, okay.
So we're like along the right lines.
Yeah. No, but I'm like...
You're saying physically install something into somebody's brain?
Maybe. Yeah. I'm joking. No, not like that at all. But I just feel like if you're a very self-aware person and you're listening to this and you've got a goal, look at that triangle. Yeah. Try and make some fucking sense of it. Look at that. And there's your sort of equation to success. Yeah. Plug your goal in wherever you want, because, and instead of, whatever it is, you put it in, and that's how you can generate success. Yeah. It's not that hard. Yeah. It's a combined effort of 3 different things, really. What do you want to fucking do? How are you going to get there? And what's going to help at the top? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you need to realise what's going on as you're doing it. You need to keep checking yourself. Am I on this right path? Yeah. And that's your equation to be successful. Yeah. You might have cracked the code, mate. What are we doing here? What do you want to do? No wonder it got such. Do you want to be the president? What? How do you do it? Get the triangle back up. Yeah, but it can be like that. Yeah. That could be your trigger to be like, hey, you need to keep thinking about this. Let's have a look at this triangle. What's my goal? Am I doing the right things daily? Am I aware that I'm doing those things daily? I think our minds kind of work very much in the same way, is that we need that kind of like visual representation. That's why when I kind of came across this type of analysis, it kind of very much fit with what my line of thinking was. Yeah. It kind of like laid out my thought process on paper. But I think a lot of people need that. Yeah, quite possibly. Because we need that. Yeah, we definitely need that. But this, compared to just a general person's life, they think, hey man, I really want to fucking open up this new store, and that's my goal. I want to be a dog walker. Nice. Yeah? Okay. How many dogs? And do you know what I mean? You've got an equation there to put in. Literally, you could draw that up and put in whatever you want. Yeah. And yeah, so our brains definitely do work the same way, but I think a lot of other people's do, because nobody's ever had anything like this before. Ever? I've never fucking seen anything like this before. I've never seen anything like that before, because this is what I'm always thinking in my head. I'm thinking there must be a way. You know what I mean? There must be a way I can fucking do this or do that or whatever. And like this is genuinely going to help people.
Yeah.
It could.
Well, it could do. Yeah. Well, let's see how we can.
It will definitely help the grittier person.
Yeah.
Anyone that has is thinking about wanting to have a long-term goal.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to help someone.
Or like you have one, I guess we've been in that position before where you kind of have a long-term goal and you're like, well, how the fuck do I even get there?
It's the equation.
The equation. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, if this could help more people, then we'll find a way of making that happen.
Have you ever thought about that once you was writing this up? Hey, this could help a lot of people, or did it not really cross your mind?
It didn't cross my mind because I was like, fucking hell, get to the end of this, like get a half-decent mark and then just see what happens.
Right, but you got a really good mark, didn't you?
Best in the class, boy.
Best in the country.
Yeah, but it's a different country, so I don't count.
Did you have to speak to anybody else that was studying grit, or did you have
No.
any communications with anyone?
No one else was studying grit. There were kind of five papers in the whole world that reference grit, maybe 2 papers that reference interoceptive awareness within this context. So it was like a completely new... This was the first study of its kind.
Right, so did that really not like push you every day to be like, hey guys, we might be on something here?
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah.
When they were like, when my supervisor said, people have studied grit, people have studied interoceptive awareness, nobody's ever come to this conclusion before that the two may be combined in some way. Nobody's ever studied it. Nobody's kind of even hypothesized it. This will be the first one. This could be really interesting. If it's a good paper, we'll publish it, blah, blah, blah. Then I was kind of like, fuck, let's get going.
Well, somebody like an Angela Duckworth or a Carol Dweck, they might be interested in something like this. Or do you...
Yeah, they might be. You're right.
Mate, what are you doing?
Get them on the podcast.
Fucking publish it.
It's not up to me.
Why?
Well, it goes into like a scientific research paper. It has to go through like an ethics board and things like that.
Oh, those dirty bastards.
Ethics, mate. Everywhere.
What? You can't just publish a paper? And then someone could just say, hey, this is bullshit. Or someone say, hey, you got something, you're on something.
I suppose you could do, yeah. But I don't know whether contractually it has to like stay within whether the university owns it or something. I don't know.
Ugh.
I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, I'll get to the...
It's at a fucking end, mate.
So the societal impact.
Hurry up!
I really need a piss as well, so I'm going to go straight after this. Thanks for having me. The findings from this research begin to implicate interoceptive awareness in combating population inactivity.
Now we're talking, baby.
Lake et al. Applaud the advances made in artificial intelligence, but argue that our own cognitive capabilities must be addressed if we truly want to see a persistent change in lifestyle behaviours.
No, go through that one more time. You said something about AI.
And
I'm scared.
I'm
scared.
So they were saying technology that's helping us track our fitness, supposedly get fitter, so Fitbits or Peloton, blah, blah, blah. It's all well and good. If we don't change our thought process, it will all be irrelevant.
So what is the thought process that you think that we're in right now?
Just mindlessly kind of going along, not really paying attention to ourselves, really, just listening to all of the noise without taking that step back, looking inwards, thinking, how do I feel? What do I actually like? Do I feel good in myself? Have I got a goal? Am I striving towards that goal or not? Or am I just wearing a Fitbit and it hits fucking 10,000 steps and I'm happy? And then I'm stuffing my face.
So you quite against the whole wearable Fitbit?
No, I'm not against it, but people
need to know that there's more to just putting it on your wrist.
Yeah.
You need to really think about this.
And
think, hey, am I enjoying this, or is this something is this benefiting me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but then obviously, like, for every person that maybe doesn't use it for what it's designed for, there'll be people that do. So
yeah, that's the case with everything.
Yeah. So yeah. Sorry. Last thing. So we cautiously suggest. When I say we, I mean me.
Yeah, you kept saying we. Did you? Was you working with someone while you was doing this?
No, but it's kind of like.
You schizophrenic? Locked away in your little Amsterdam room, like.
Feeling like, right, you take over.
I'm getting tired now.
You do the night shift.
Come on, you know you haven't slept in 16 hours.
I'm not sure why they're so camp, the characters. But...
Hey!
I'm kind of sleepy.
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Did we just find this? No, it's just what you say in research, and like there were supervisors and stuff, so you kind of have to say like,
come on, man.
We did this together, guys.
You're talking to a fucking idiot. You don't need to keep saying we.
All right, I'll change it. I cautiously suggest that our findings support the role of interoceptive awareness in the development of overall health. Long-term exercise interventions, which promote the development of interoceptive awareness, could help individuals achieve overall well-being by being more aware of what their body is capable of, as well as what goal-oriented behaviours are sustainable.
Can I ask a question,
Toby?
please? Can I ask a question? You said that you could improve your introspective awareness.
Yeah.
How?
By kind of like essentially taking the time out to listen to your body, whether that's when you're exercising or whether you're just
Isn't that just
kind of
being
sitting here.
introspective?
No, it's interoceptive awareness.
Mike kept on saying introspective.
Yeah, but...
So, well, you could have fucking told me, mate.
No, because a lot of people do it with when I was doing this study.
Yeah, how do you... So you improve it just by taking a back step and being like...
But it's exactly like anything else, just practicing it. And
right, okay. So what would you suggest? Just making...
I'd suggest more physical activity, because when more are you going to listen to yourself than when you're phically active? Do you see what I mean?
You're onto something now.
And when I say listen to yourself, I'm
finally getting it.
It's literally like the last sentence of the paper as well.
Finally.
Page 40. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like deliberate practice, not necessarily to become a fucking Olympian.
Yeah.
But to become healthier will enable you to listen to your like visceral bodily signals, whether that's heartbeat or muscle fatigue or fucking something to do with your gut or your intestines or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're essentially putting yourself in the position where you need to practice interoceptive awareness, and therefore you'll get better at listening to your body more through physical activity.
Right, okay.
Does that make sense?
Very much so, yeah.
Okay. So interoceptive awareness's relation to grit could potentially help to address the increase in non-communicable disease being manifested by an increasingly sedentary population. So like obviously the numbers even more so now of heart disease or coronary heart disease being the single biggest killer, mm-hmm. Cancer, diabetes, all things like that are associated with things like diet and physical activity.
Do you think there's an actual correlation between that increasing and grit decreasing?
Probably not, because there are so many more other factors that grit probably doesn't play a massive role in it. But I'm saying that
But could it?
I'm saying the combination between grit and interoceptive awareness could maybe
stop you from getting cancer.
Yeah. So this is curing cancer.
You've cured cancer.
I'm so desperate for the toilet. Jess, take over.
Are you understanding any of this? All of it. Yeah. It's tough, isn't it? When somebody's so much fucking smarter than you. And you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? but I think I've understood it a little bit. I like the equation that he was talking about, because if you just a random bloke like me and you have a goal, you could be a lot more aware along with doing whatever it takes to meet your goal day in, day out.
Yeah, if you're aware of it.
And that's what I mean. You have to be aware. Yeah. You know, there's a difference. But then again, there's something to those people that just put their head down and just grind with work. They're not even thinking about the future. I suppose maybe luck comes into that. I don't fucking know. But yeah. I'm going to ask Matt now. Oi, Matt.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Right, so you got an equation.
Yeah. We've got an equation.
Who's fucking we, mate? So you've got an equation.
Yeah.
And somebody that's sitting at home and they're like, hey, I've got a good goal, but they just don't feel like they're on track.
Yeah, this is a good question.
They don't feel like they're on track a little bit.
Yeah.
Is it better for them to say, hey, I need to be a lot more self-aware within my daily grind and checking myself that I am getting into this goal every day? I am working towards something.
Mm.
And what I am doing every day,
Yeah.
getting me to my goal.
Mm.
But is there something to be said about those people that don't necessarily think like that? They put their head down and they don't even think. They're just like, hey, I need to grind. And it's just then, because you get those people that, you know, they don't necessarily, maybe they do have a long-term goal, but it's almost secondary to the daily grind. You know, they just put their head down and they're just going.
The farmers.
Yeah, but they've got a long-term goal.
No, they don't.
Yeah, every year.
Yeah, it's not a long-term goal though, is it? It's just they just grind.
I would say everybody's got, and this is why the kind of background to my background research was those like basic human needs, is that everything links back to a basic human motivation. So if you stop looking at things as like a goal and say, oh, this person doesn't even have like a long-term goal, he doesn't know where he wants to get to, he's just working fucking hard.
Yeah.
There's some sort of innate motivation in him to learn, to produce something of value, to be a part of a society, to create an impact on the world.
Yeah.
So like
those hackers.
You
know, those old sweaty hackers, and they're just in their room every day.
Oh, right.
Grinding out, but it could be for the worse. And maybe they're trying to fuck everything up. They're pretty gritty.
I'm not sure how we went down that path. But yeah.
Sorry, when you were talking about those sort of people that are in the swing of things, you know, but they have that general idea of, hey, I've got a big goal here, I'm trying to contribute to something.
Yeah.
It's that sort of person, isn't it? Are they just naturally more gritty, do you reckon?
I feel like it's definitely, you're predisposed towards personality, aren't you?
Yeah.
And that kind of manifests itself due to upbringing, environmental factors, everything. So I'd say in terms of like focusing on the goal, I almost think for most people, the long-term goal, unless you're in a specific situation like an athlete or whatever, for general people, every time, I'd say for the general population, you have a long-term goal and then you just forget it. Like, you know it's there, you don't have to worry about it, it's not going anywhere. And then you focus on your kind of like day-to-day activities. But then that's why I brought in the whole sustainability thing, and it perfectly applies to...
I think that's the biggest key, sustainability.
Yeah. It applies so well to physical fitness because you've got those... it expresses itself so clearly as like overtraining or fatigue. Whereas things like burnout at work, which is another set of studies which I looked into.
Right. Okay.
Like burnout's a very real thing, and it causes like a hormonal and neurochemical imbalance. When you become particularly stressed, it creates these chronic issues. But it's less physically visible, isn't it, compared to overtraining or fatigue or something like that. And then I kind of linked it back to my own. I got obsessed with those. You probably remember, actually, I got obsessed with those like motivational videos and speeches and things like that, and like Eric Thomas in particular.
Yeah.
So then every day I was fucking just listening to them and just being like, everyone's got to grind, everyone's got to like push themselves to the limit each day.
I wrote
and it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote a little note on my phone one night.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe a year or two ago, and it said "riding motivation." And I think since then, I think somebody else has brought it up. So if you've heard this before, riding motivation isn't good. You know, every day you have to listen to that video.
Yeah.
You have to watch this to get motivated to do the thing that you want to do. That's not. Yes, it's good for that maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
But, you know, for the long term of reaching your goal, I'm not sure how much of a good thing that is.
And then that's where grit comes in, because it's that persistent passion for something.
Yeah, exactly.
Motivation's like an external factor that supplements that and helps it along.
Yeah.
But you've always got that passion to go back to.
And then taking it back to your thesis, being self-aware is also ties in very closely to that, because if you're watching something that's motivating you and you're like, you need to step back and say, hey, what am I doing here? Am I just watching videos because I want to do the thing, or do I really want to fucking do it?
Do I really want to do it? Exactly. And so then it's kind of like this idea of, so what is this fucking grind, this like illustrious, infamous grind that all successful people are on, and that us like subhumans can just never achieve success because we don't have this grind. And all it is just doing something every day that gets you towards that goal. And it can be so indirect that it's like it's levels and levels away. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
If my goal was to make £1 million, but I went for a walk one day to clear my mind, to get some exercise in, that's still working towards your goal. You're still on this fucking grind.
Exactly, yeah.
You're just doing something that benefits yourself, benefits your overall well-being, and then that all feeds into this kind of person you want to become, the skills you want to develop, and the place you want to go.
So I can do anything.
Anything you want.
Man, you're fucking blowing my mind.
I spoke to
right
the
now.
woman at the CrossFit box. You just need to believe a bit.
But it really is that. Let's say your goal is to... We've all got that goal. You know what I mean? Fucking, you want £1 million. I want £1 million. But, like, I want to do other stuff as well.
Yeah.
You know? And you can't really do it all.
Yeah.
You know, you get to that goal and then you can do these other things. And, you know, this is what people probably get caught up on. If your goal is to make £1 million, you've got to really put it into the equation that you built up and say, hey, what am I doing today? Is that what I'm doing? Because people don't do that.
No, it definitely needs to be conscious. You're right.
Yeah.
Definitely needs to be like a conscious decision.
Every day it needs to be conscious. That's the difference between someone that's an Olympian and somebody that goes to the gym every day.
It's like we were saying, like, who are we? But we've both been fairly consistent with the gym recently, like seeing some good results. Yeah, maybe not gains, but maybe feeling better. I'm definitely getting skinnier.
Ew.
Yeah, gross.
Kidding, man? False skinny.
But what? That's only a few weeks, and that's had like such a big impact. So imagine if you just were consistent with things.
That's what I mean. When I was
imagine you specifically were consistent.
What
with
about
things.
me? Listen, yeah. When I was Thailand T,
pull the picture up.
6 years.
And you only got to that.
6 months, right?
Yeah.
I've never done it quite like this. It was my singular focus.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Was it like obsessive? Was it?
Yeah, but it wasn't good.
No.
Like, the outcome was good, but
How long was the outcome good for, by the way? How long did you look
about
like
4
that
months. About 4 months.
for? Really?
Yeah, I was training.
Oh,
I was
that's
keeping
good.
Keeping it
Oh,
good.
because when you guys went out, you were still training, right?
Yeah, we went, well, not loads, but we would always
Not
do
loads, I heard.
every day. No, but about 3-4 months, and then we got to the point where, yeah, we didn't partying and stuff.
Big women.
But yeah, it doesn't take much to maintain once you are at that level.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean. Once you do reach your goal, you can really take a bit of a back step.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is, of course. If
No, you're right.
Of course, if you want to be an Olympian, you've got to put your foot on the floor a little bit more. But if your goal is to lose that weight, you can really get to that point of your goal. Once you've reached it, hey, I can take a bit of a back step now and enjoy things a little bit more. And that for me is the main benefit of reaching my goal of losing weight or whatever it might be.
It's the same kind of concept as that discipline is freedom, Jocko.
Mate, you're stealing my brain thoughts.
Really?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this
Get on my
yesterday,
brain.
which is really weird. That I don't know why this is so weird, but sometimes I put myself in the position of like a really obese person.
Really?
Because I almost want to be like, there's obviously some sort of psychological trauma there that makes somebody go towards food as the kind of antidote, because obviously that was me for a long time as well, and still is, obviously. So I sometimes like try and look from their perspective at things, and I was like, oh, like people think it's so difficult to get to this point, and then you got to be so fucking strict with yourself in order to stay there, but it's not. It's actually being there, like you said, gives you that freedom to then be like, yeah, I'll treat myself. Yeah, I won't go as hard. Yeah, I can take a step off the gas a bit so I can focus on other things.
Yeah.
Like it really is. It's almost the answer to what your initial problem is.
Man, you're breaking my heart.
Now you go. You say it, but in your way.
Discipline equals freedom. But it's true. It's so true, though, isn't it? It's just like, you have this thing of, hey, I want to make £1 million, but when I get to £1 million, I've got to fucking make 2 million. That's what people get caught up in, and that people always do. But you don't have to, because for someone like us that haven't got a pot to piss in, £1 million, we could just live chill for the rest of our life.
Off grid.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We could just be financially free. But somebody else might get to a million and go, hey, I want 10.
Yeah.
Hey, I want $1 billion.
By the way, that probably is going to be.
Yeah, it's just human nature,
Yeah.
isn't it? But do you think grit is also a downfall in some ways? Because there's not grit itself, but you think reaching your goals.
Yeah.
And always wanting more.
But reaching your goals will never be like it is in your head. It will always be different. And then the situation will always be different. And therefore, other things will have cropped up in the meantime that's now another goal. So you've reached this one and there's something else over here that you can get to. And you can see how you can get to it. And you now have the skills to be able to get to it. So I think, any kind of like personality trait or non-cognitive factor like grit is, it probably can be used to the detriment of somebody, but it's mainly there as like a positive tool.
It's a positive tool, but when it works with a bad personality trait, it can be quite bad. Because all successful people, they all have downfalls.
Yeah, of course.
Like, empires and stuff like that. If you want to get really different, like that itself is,
they eventually all come down.
Because they keep pushing themselves. They keep trying to get bigger and bigger and better and better and more and more and more, where it's almost unsustainable. But people do that. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm laughing about that build an empire and they will come from the last podcast.
I fucking love empires. Yeah, but that's someone might say, you get those people out there, those fucking communists.
Jesus.
That would just be like, hey, we don't really need grit, we'll just chill out and we'll do our bits and we'll do our best.
Yeah, I don't think they single out grit, but maybe.
But
They blacklisted this report.
That sort of goes against human nature.
What does?
That sort of mindset of if you don't have grit. Do you know what I mean? Because we've all got it in us.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
Neither do I, but
like,
communists can still have grit.
But it sort of stubs that a little bit, doesn't it?
No, because they can still be determined and passionate about the greater good of the people, can't they?
Right, yeah, that's true. But people don't really work.
You'll have to ask a communist.
Yeah, fucking hell.
See if they're gritty or not.
Jess?
And we've got one here today.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking about that, but I was just thinking about human...
What could be the...
Yeah, just sort of like the psychology in every human.
Yeah.
They want to get better and better. But it's, people are very selfish.
But does every person in the world want to get better and better?
I would say so.
Really?
And I think if they don't, I think they might be going wrong a little bit. The only reason I say that...
What have you done? Have you gone wrong a little bit?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I'm just trying to... I don't really know. I'm just trying to think of how a person's mind really works. I know how mine works, so I don't know how everybody else's works. So, yeah, I'm probably wrong.
I mean, you're definitely not wrong because it's your opinion on things.
Opinions can be wrong.
Maybe.
No, you're wrong there, mate.
But yeah, so the idea behind it all is let's take ourselves as an example and just say, how could you apply that equation to yourself?
Yeah, that's what I am doing. I want to be better. I want to be in more shape. I want to get more money. I want my business to grow. I want the podcast to grow.
Yeah.
And I think in regards to the podcast, I do think we could put that into an equation. Right? So let's just do it now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right? So long-term podcast goal.
Yeah. What is your goal with the podcast, by the way?
I think it's just... I want to be smarter.
Yeah.
I think that's the main goal. Obviously, it'll be nice to do it full time and have so money has to be part of it, right?
Yeah.
But what's the indirect route
towards being smarter through the podcast?
Yeah,
would be
reading books.
Reading books, kind of learning the skills that you need to run a podcast, getting guests on to learn about different things, which I know you're really excited for.
Yeah.
When we can eventually do it.
What, you're not?
Yeah, I am. I just like talking to you.
I like you.
I like you. I like Jess.
I don't like Jess. He keeps dropping the camera.
Yeah, but that's a...
And he's freaking out right now. He's proper high and he's freaking out.
But I tell you what, this is great.
Thanks, man.
How much did you have then?
Just a little bit, mate.
Oh, and you had a little bit as well.
I didn't have any, Matt. All right, I don't do drugs.
I heard something going on in the background.
No. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Is it? I thought you couldn't drink on it. Is that something different?
Shut up, mate.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you can do what you want. Don't tell me I can't do anything, all right?
Let's keep going because we just got Jess out of his vibe.
All right, sorry.
Okay, so we're back to the equation.
Yeah, with this podcast, hey, I want this podcast to be the biggest podcast in the world.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Probably through the learning that you want as another goal. So maybe that's like I guess almost an action or a behavior that leads to the goal of being a bigger podcast. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it definitely makes sense, but
Yeah.
I think there's so much more that goes into it.
Oh yeah, of course.
And that's where you have to be aware.
Hmm.
What's the term called?
Interoceptive awareness, but
Interoceptive.
that's just to do with like your visceral, physical state, internal physical state. Whereas you're talking about self-awareness, right?
Yeah, but not only self-awareness. I'm talking like, let's say with the podcast, and you wanted to use interoceptive. As I said it wrong.
So close.
Interoceptive
Got it.
awareness.
Yeah.
You know, that could be every day. What am I doing today that helps this podcast?
Yeah, but so that wouldn't be to do with your physical state, would it?
No, nothing to do with physical.
Yeah, so that's
Forget
not
about
interoceptive. All right, well, you're the one that kept saying it, so I can't forget about it.
All right, sorry. So
Awareness.
when it becomes to introspective awareness,
Yeah.
interoceptive awareness, it doesn't have any correlation when it goes into business. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because I'm talking about podcast now. I'm not sure I'm talking about fitness.
Yeah. So cut off the interoceptive bit.
Oh, really?
So you don't have to say that word again.
Awareness.
Awareness, self-awareness.
Yeah, all right, self-awareness.
Yeah.
So when it becomes to doing a podcast,
Yeah.
that's your long-term goal. You've got your indirect of learning, growth mindset sort of.
Mm-hmm.
idea.
Yeah.
That's your indirect way of doing it. When it becomes the podcast instead of physical fitness, does self-awareness make a difference?
I reckon it really does. Yeah. I reckon it really does.
So, how could we be more self-aware with the podcast and making it bigger?
I think we're very good at it already.
Oh, hey! You telling me this is going to be the best podcast in the world then?
I reckon
we're on
so,
track.
yeah.
We're on track.
I think we're on track.
Shout out, everyone.
I think we're both very good at kind of taking a step back and just being like, okay, well, what do we need to do now? What's the next small step? We're not rushing things. We've had conversations about a couple of different things, haven't we, where we've both been like, look, this may not feel right, so let's just leave it for now and come back to it.
Yeah.
Or like, this will take away from the enjoyment aspect of it, so let's just kind of stick on the path we're on.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest factor of.
But that's what you need to keep reminding me of, because
Have fun! Enjoy yourself! Don't worry about it!
I so easily slip into that like mindset of being like, okay, well, how do I grow it? How do I get it bigger? How do I monetize it?
Yeah. That should almost be a smaller fault in your head than what it probably is at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest moment should be just enjoying ourselves.
Yeah. Which
I learned from you today, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we get some people in that don't have to be fucking nutty professors.
Think about how good that would be.
Yeah, man. I want to talk to some people that have gone off grid.
This is what it is. We don't necessarily, we don't want to, I mean, I'd love to learn from professors as well, but we also want to just hear about people's experiences.
Yeah. I was listening to this podcast the other day. This guy is a traveling nurse.
Right.
Man, it was proper interesting. He was just a normal guy. He lives in a van. He goes from state to state. He was in America. And he just spends like maybe 6 months here and whatever, and works maybe like 3 days a week, but he doesn't have a house or something. And man, he was so interesting. I was looking at this guy like, fuck, you're a hero, mate. Going around the country saving lives.
Where was he? Here or
No,
States?
In the States.
Mm.
It's a bit proper cool.
So he didn't have a house?
He didn't have a house. Him and his girlfriend.
Wow.
No, it wasn't him and his girlfriend. I think he had a girlfriend, but I think that sort of lifestyle
Got
didn't
rid.
fit, yeah. Which is obviously a downfall to it. But he was just a chill guy that was out here fucking saving lives. Fucking midwives. He loved it. He fucking loved it.
Camera can't see it, but just went mental at that one. Is the camera still rolling, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine, mate.
I don't want to. yeah, so just hearing from those sorts of people, and then that thing I sent you last night about the two guys that what did they do? Did they bike from Beijing to?
Yeah, that blew my mind. That's literally what we was talking about, and at the end of it, what did they do? Build a school at the end.
Yeah, raise money to build a school or something. And I was like, shit, they've stolen our idea. But obviously, somebody.
No, they stole our fucking idea. let's not skip past that. Yeah, whoever those pricks are, they need to fucking answer.
But also, come onto the podcast. We'd love to have you.
Mate, you sound like great guys.
You've done something amazing.
Teach us your ways.
I wish I thought of it.
We kind of did say it first.
But I was thinking, that was my initial thought, was like, oh shit, somebody's done it already.
Yeah.
But everyone's done everything already, so we just got to... You don't even have to make something different, just... There are plenty of more things to raise money for. The trail's still there from wherever we want to do it from to the destination.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually thought it was really cool that there's kind of there's a Netflix documentary, I guess, that was doing the thing we wanted to do.
What, they were on Netflix?
That was on Netflix, yeah.
For fuck's sake. Those cheeky bastards. But back to Grit.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that as you were studying it, it made you really think about, I don't know, is there anything that really, you maybe didn't want to, it was separate to your thesis that you got really got you thinking, or was you just solely focused on?
The two things that I would say kind of came from it, from a personal perspective, was the sustainability thing, and not just in terms of physical fitness. How can you keep things going for a long-term goal?
Yeah.
That's nothing to do with fucking 12-week programs or getting a business started in 60 days or any of this rubbish.
Yeah.
How do you create something sustainable for yourself that can bring value to other people? And then the second thing was, how can I use this to feed into a business that is like an educational tool for kids to learn about fitness and nutrition and everything. And so it's kind of they're kind of just waiting in the background, so that when I am in the position to revisit that idea of whether it's cookery workshops or something, I can say, look, I did this piece of research.
Well, this is a massive thing that I wanted to talk about, because like I was saying with Angela Duckworth, when she was teaching maths, and she got a pretty sort of bad performing class, and it's took them to one of the best performing classes. What she's done for those kids is pretty crazy. Do you think that teachers should be taught what grit is, or how to teach grit in a, she's doing something with those kids. She's just not teaching maths. She's doing more than just being a teacher that's really interactive or whatever. There's obviously more going on there. She's obviously taken a step back, being self-aware, and she's saying, hey, how can I get these kids to really perform, and how to get their grit to go up so they can work harder?
Yeah.
She said there was no correlation between IQ and their final test scores.
Exactly.
So grit is almost separate from that thing. So
if
you can work hard and you can push through the boundaries of struggling and stuff like that, how do you feel? What's the best route to go down to get this installed into more of a generational thing? I know I said earlier, it was quite idealistic that, hey, more about if we could all have grit and we could all be really good and stuff like that. I know it sounds stupid, but maybe not everyone, but we could definitely take it up 10%, 20%, and out of those 20%, someone in that percentage could really change the world because they've got more grit. Do you know what I mean? Those tiny changes make a big difference in the long run.
Exactly.
How many people that are truly brilliant out there, or truly geniuses, that have given up because they don't have grit?
Yeah, and it has to come from the education system, I think.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this more and more recently, only because my mum's in reception class, and remember when she was showing us those videos of that guy that fucking man, he's teaching the children of the
Wait,
future.
talk it through.
All right, so there's this guy working with kids. He's a teaching assistant in my mum's school, which is not her school, but she works there. And this guy is the biggest div you could ever think about. And let me just tell you how he is first, and then I'll tell you what I think about it. Okay? He walks into a class. He's a teaching assistant, so he hangs at the back, and he helps kids that are maybe underperforming and stuff like that. And this is how he talks. Hey, yo, what's going on? What's going on, man? How you doing today? Are we gonna be learning and that, yeah?
To the kids.
To the fucking kids, man. Somebody's child. He goes in and spuds them all. What's going on, man?
Yeah, imagine you're a parent and the TA was speaking to your kid like that.
Well, that's not the worst bit.
No, man. I'm fucking so angry at this.
He takes another kid out for maths, right? And he brings two kids, a smart one and a dumb one. The smart one because he can't do the maths himself.
Yeah, let me tell you this on the mic so you can hear it.
Yeah, go on.
So this guy, yeah, he's dumb.
All right.
I don't care. He is, yeah?
Yeah.
He didn't go to college, or he didn't go to university. Neither did I. I'm dumb, but I wouldn't teach kids. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm too dumb. Yeah, like they're simple maths equations. I couldn't do it. I genuinely couldn't do it. Right. So I shouldn't be teaching kids. Yeah. This guy should be self-aware enough not to teach kids. He takes a child that's underperforming.
Yeah.
And he takes them out of the class to help them with their subject that they're not performing in, be it English, maths, whatever. He can't even do the work that they're given, so he takes the smartest child in the class out to help the other child, but it's not. They're just telling him the answers.
But why does the teacher allow him to take out the smarter kid as well?
But like, it's just a failure of the education system, I think. I'm just looking at it as a big thing. Do you think that someone like that should be employed?
It's questionable. It would be interesting to understand why he was employed if he clearly doesn't have the qualifications for it.
But when I saw that, when my mum was telling me about the things that he posts up Instagram stories talking about girls' pussies and shit, and like I think other parents are following him on things, so like people can see what he's doing and shit, and that, like, what sort of impression is, like, kids, they soak up everything that you give them. So what sort of impression is he making on those kids?
Yeah,
like, it's not funny. Like, my mum was sort of laughing about it, like, oh, he's harmless, but like, no,
it's quite scary.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's terrifying. Like, come on, man.
It looks like construction stuff to me.
Yeah, you just like, come on.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had a good teacher in there that could show kids prevalence, grit, teach them creativity and stuff like that. Ever since I saw that video of him and how he acts, and Mum telling me that story, I've really started to think about how bad our future's looking. They're the kids of our generation, the next generation. They're going to be adults one day, and they've got this imprinted in their head of somebody coming out, yo, what's going on, man? Let's go out. He sits at the back of the class with the child that's underperforming and does graffiti. He does not. I'm not joking. He does graffiti. He writes on a piece of paper.
The S.
The S. I'm cool with that. They're learning. No, he does like Nike. He does Nike ticks. Yeah, and then he budges them. Yeah, like hey, look at this.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh my god, you just done a Nike tick. It's not funny. It's not fucking funny.
It's quite funny. I'm trying to think how
Imagine if that's your kid. Is it funny anymore?
Yeah, quite funny.
No, I'm pissed off. I'm
Simmer
genuinely
down.
pissed off.
I'm trying to think how I'd react if I was a kid though, and someone's like, oi, oi, oi.
Yeah, I'd be fucking infatuated with this guy. I think, oh, this guy's well cool. That's how
I
I'd be.
yeah, I
because
don't know if I would.
That was a sick night too.
He did get the curve right, to be fair.
I genuinely would. I was a dumb kid. I was very impressionable. You could probably tell me something and I'll be like, oh, that's wicked, man. Like, fuck, how do I do a night tick? Do you know what I mean? Like, am I doing it? And then I'm not listening to the teacher.
Yeah. Is that actually what happened?
Probably.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't, is it not? Even if they don't do that, is it something that they shouldn't even be focusing on?
What, night ticks?
The fucking teaching assistant doing graffiti next to you. You know he's sitting in those tiny little chairs as well. What's that film with Adam Sandler when he's a little kid again?
Oh, I don't
And he's
fucking
sitting
know.
down in the fucking classroom and he's like a massive grown up in this tiny little fucking
Yeah.
seats and chairs. That's what he's doing, man. These kids are young. They're like 8.
Wait, reception?
Yeah, well, it's probably a bit younger than that, isn't it? A lot younger.
It's like half that, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But even more so, having an impact on them.
exactly, and I've been thinking about this a lot recently. It's not looking good. Every single way that you look at it, it's not looking good for those kids. I know it's only a tiny percentage, but how many other schools?
No,
have got
you're
people
right.
Like that.
Yeah, it's not just fucking him at the school.
I remember teachers when I was at school. There was this teacher that used to love Jess. She was like this old granny woman. She used to bring in him treats and say,
Just
"Hey."
an older woman, yeah.
That's why Jess still likes older women.
Oh my god, you got to it. The origin story.
Right, so she's made an imprint on his head.
Yeah.
What are they doing to him?
And now he loves older women.
And now they're just gonna like these chavvy guys? Man, I'm getting pissed off. I need a wee.
Wait, so what?
No,
what
I don't want to wait. I'm pissed.
Jess, what happened with the granny woman?
No, she was just a really lovely woman. She just took a liking to me. And
Right.
And she,
I've got a
day
holder.
She used to bring me like a little treat, or she used to help me out. And
Wait, was it? So this is in primary school, and this woman just every day would bring you a little snack,
just
looking
me.
like a snack.
I don't know why. There was probably a couple other kids as well.
Yeah.
She'd buy me little presents.
For like special occasions, or
No, just look, I got you a present. She'd bring like, I remember she got me this sticky ball. Remember them like balls of like those sticky things? And you used to lick them and then chuck them out the window.
I don't think I
One day
do.
she brought
A
me
sticky
that.
ball.
Yeah. Just a little ball that you kind of lick.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
One day she came in and she just said, "Jess, I got you a present." And she grabbed it, licked it, and then just fucking lobbed it at the school window.
What? So into the mic, she bought you this present. It turned out to be a little sticky ball that then she's licked herself and thrown it at the window and stuck it, and then said, "That's your present."
Yeah. You know what? It was so long ago. Maybe the licking thing didn't even happen.
So this has been fabricated slightly,
Maybe.
but
They do say that.
I think we're on something here. That this
This could be this. Well,
yeah.
I didn't fancy her.
No, but you always now want that appraisal from an older woman.
Yeah, he wants that
That's-
granny.
That's all right. Well,
He wants that granny pussy.
that's a crude way of saying it, but yeah.
The girls that I like
Our grannies.
are fucking 30 years old, man.
Are they getting you presents? These girls.
Do they lick their present?
Throw
before they
it at the window.
His features. Fuck, they do. That's his face.
They get you presents.
They give me presents, man.
So Jess, how old are you?
26.
Jess is 26, and your kind of like preference in women is
25
Oh,
plus.
I would just say 30.
30 and
Well,
older.
Yeah, but it was 30 when you was 23.
Yeah, so does it move up the older you
No,
get?
It's actually just stayed there.
Oh, it stayed at 30.
Yeah.
So,
What's the next step? 50?
well, no, because
55?
he's just said it stays at 30.
See,
How long is
and
that? When's
it
any?
may always stay at 30.
I hope not.
Think about that.
Bit
Unless,
hungry.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think we've come to that. But
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? Man, we're like doing therapy right now. I want to do more of that.
Do
I want
more-
to find out what makes somebody somebody. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like I know we haven't got to the root of it, but with Jess just then, like now we know,
We figured him out, yeah.
we figured it out a little bit more, and I want to figure people out.
But that's why I'm so interested in psychology, because that's essentially just figuring people out. Like why you like this. It's because X, Y, and Z happen.
Yeah. Why are you such a prick?
I still can't put my finger on it.
Sorry, mate. That was rude of me.
That's all right.
You're not a prick. I love you. All right. But yeah, I think grit should be more installed into children. I think it's a really good quality to have,
Yeah.
and I think it should almost be taught. And do you know any ways that it could be taught?
Yeah, I don't think it would be a specific, like it wouldn't be a subject. It wouldn't be,
No.
it would just be how you go about. It would almost be like a new model to learning, I guess.
Like psychology.
In what sense?
Maybe if teachers learned psychology,
Right.
or had to have a course
Yeah.
on psychology and the ripple effects of
Yeah.
thing, I think that could really benefit children in the future as they grow up.
Yeah.
The more I think about that, like I said, I've been thinking about it more ever since my mum showed me this guy.
Yeah.
And I was thinking how important the role of a teacher is. Like, it's kind of insane.
One of the most important. They can have like more impact on a child than a parent can.
Yeah, like massively.
Yeah.
And we're not handling that power correctly right now.
Yeah. Well, because it's just become very focused on
Grades.
the grades and marks and how good the school looks and how it's performing, rather than the actual development of the child. So then again, like, is that going to change? Could we change that?
Maybe if we just make it a bit more well known, it's something we talk about a lot. Maybe that every idea starts with a seed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got to plant a seed a little bit. You can't just say, hey,
Just
you've
a
got to
bit.
fucking change this and change that. People aren't going to respond to that. But hey, if you say, if you explain what the reasons are, and people start to realise, they say, hey, my kid is in school right now and there's a idiot teaching my kid. I might want to go to my school council or whatever they might do and say, hey, we actually want to make it better for our kid. Thanks. And you just fire that guy.
Yeah.
Or whatever it might be.
Yeah, don't try and get this guy fired.
I mean, it should be.
Maybe line him up with another job.
I wouldn't
first.
want him with my kid. Would you?
Probably not. Probably not.
But maybe you do. Maybe you tell your kid, hey, this isn't the way to be.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but then it's still that whole rebellious thing of like, my parents have said this, so I'll do the opposite.
Yeah. Did you go into a lot of child psychology?
A fair amount, not a crazy amount, but with this, because it was developmental psychology, did go into a fair bit.
Right. Okay. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I think my mum's read a couple of books on it. She doesn't teach. She's reception or something like that, like year 1 or something. So I wouldn't call it teaching.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sure, she'll love to hear that.
Shit. But yeah, I think the more teachers know
Yeah.
on that or have some sort of awareness of it, the better it is.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of like training teachers to have an awareness of the impact that they have on a child's development, I think that's probably integral to improving the education system. But can that happen? I don't know. I don't think so.
Kind of has to.
Yeah, maybe. It has to if you want to improve our population's kind of like individual well-being, but then you're getting into the whole realm of or is it okay how it is, and we're pumping in these workers just into the
Think of us like
into
an
a
ant
system.
colony.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do? They have very specific jobs, and they go around and they're very efficient with it. And they figured out the things to really get by.
Yeah.
Do you think they're saying, hey, just let Sally over there, just, yeah. I don't know, I think there needs to be a little bit, I just think the education system needs to be way better.
Yeah. Maybe that's something we could look at more and figure out how we could have an impact then.
Teach the world.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it for longevity and sustainability,
Yeah.
you have to implement better
Yeah.
than what it is at the moment. Because at the moment, if we keep on going like this, it's not. I don't know. Does it last much longer?
No,
if
probably
people
not.
just keep getting dumber and dumber.
No.
Because if you look at 100 years ago, we were pretty smart. The kids that are coming out of high school and
Yeah.
secondary school.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's still kids coming out that are smart, but
Oh, they're all dumb, man.
yeah, maybe you're right.
If you're in school right now, you're dumb. No, you're right, mate. Chill out. All right, it's just a joke, yeah. You get all butt hurt.
Fuck's sake. What ant would you be? You'd be a worker, wouldn't you?
Just be out there working.
You'd be a little grunt.
Yeah, I'll be. Leave it off, mate.
You'd be a peasant of the ant world.
I'd be running that shit. I'll be fucking the queen.
Yes!
I'll be the fucking king, mate. I don't know. Do they have a king?
They don't have kings.
They have the guy that fuck. Who fucks the queen?
Who fucks? Is it like their bodyguards?
That's a good question. Who fucks the queen?
Quite a philosophical question as well.
Here, can I say?
Can I
something?
answer my own question?
Can you find this out, Jess?
Yeah. In what? Ants or?
Ants. Who fucks the no. In humans.
Not in this climate,
No,
Jess.
Right.
Oh, right.
So ants, yeah.
Yeah.
Does the queen have babies?
Yeah.
Are all those ants the queen's babies?
Shit.
Fuck, man, Jess, you need to get on this right now.
They are bees. So
I'm not asking about these.
it's very similar. They're both like these. They're quite similar. Ants and bees, aren't they?
All right, you're fucking me up.
Think about
Ants in my pants. All right. Who fucks the queen?
I'll tell you.
And second question.
And does the queen give spawn? Or is she infertile? Because where does the queen come from? So somebody, these two ants fuck, and all of a sudden there's this fat ant come out of them.
No, where does the fucking queen bee come from? There's so many fucking questions about this, man.
Then sort them out.
Malfunction.
This is amazing. I can't believe it. I've never.
Have you ever thought about this before?
Nah.
How does a queen ant come along? She obviously doesn't come out of the abyss. All right, guys, I'm your queen there. Two ants fuck to create a queen, but are they superior ants, or is it just luck of the draw? You know, every now and then you might give off a super sperm that's a queen, because the queens are much bigger than the ants, aren't they?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Come on, Jess.
That's it, man. I'm doing a really
Oh, Jess is gone. We've lost him.
Wait,
Oh my god. Have you ever seen those ants when they pour in the concrete of the whole ant colony?
When they what?
Oh my god. When they pour the concrete in the ant hole.
Who's done that?
Oh my god, you haven't seen that?
it's amazing, man. Well, it says.
What, to kill them all?
No, they're just trying to... Well, it does kill them all. But
Right.
they're just trying to see how fucking vast this ant colony is. So you have an ant hill.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Pour the concrete in or whatever mixture it is, it hardens.
Yeah.
And then it goes all into all these different fucking levels and rooms and
Yeah.
holes, and it's just like a fucking massive. So you see this little anthill, you're like, oh, all the ants are in there.
And then it's all the way.
Nah, they're digging deep.
It just says it mates with another male and from another nest.
From another colony. To make like a super colony.
Get your phone up. Have a little look as well.
Yeah.
So Jess is saying that the queen mates with another.
Dude, I'm looking on some bad websites.
Fuck's sake, the queen mates with just an ordinary male ant.
Wait, there's a picture of it.
Oh, disgusting. Don't want images.
Doggy.
They do doggy. Oh shit,
wait.
that's unusual. Come on, ants. Come on, ants.
That's nature.
Come on, ants.
What,
You're another animal, boy.
No.
Think about your own shit. Why do we call doggy when every single animal fucks like that?
Because
Holy
they're
shit,
the
I'm
ones
blowing my mind.
that we see do it.
Do you think any animal fucks missionary?
Yeah, there's one that does. I've
Shut the fuck
seen
up.
this not so long ago.
Oh my god.
Wait, I'll find this out after. The female queen ants will fly a long distance, during which they will mate at least one winged male from another nest. Once mated, the queen will attempt to find a suitable area to start a colony, and once found, will detach her wings. She sounds freaky.
She does sound freaky. Man.
Listen, we need to do some kind of research
I need to
in the
speak- we need to
background.
speak to somebody.
Big things are coming for the
Oh,
podcast.
big things. Next week we can have an ant expert.
What? What was the next question? Oh, what
What animal fucks missionary?
what animal fucks missionary? What have you looked?
Wait, let's go to this one first.
Oh. Animal missionary extreme porn video.
Oh, Matt, what are you looking at?
Animal fucking in the missionary.
Jess, is that camera still running?
Listen, I'm gonna get in some weird shit, so maybe that's for another time.
So you said there is an animal.
There's
that fucks
I remember hearing it on
missionary. They
something.
look each other in the eye.
Maybe not.
They strangle. One of them strangling the.
I
one
think
of
that's a
us.
human thing. Imagine seeing that.
Slapping
It's
them and shit.
So, insects don't normally,
Fucking on their furry paws. Sorry, guys.
insects don't normally live that long, right?
Insects don't normally live that long.
Yeah, but there's a species, like there's a species of ants where the queen lives up to 30 years.
What the fuck?
30 years.
A 30-year-old ant?
How many times does she get fucked?
Oh, rough.
That's mad, isn't it?
That's crazy.
30 years old, she falls into your bracket.
Oi.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'll be a king.
If we could turn Jess into
Destined
an
to be
ant,
thing.
that would be his thing. She's a wrinkly old ant. So what are you telling me? So there's an animal out there that's fucking looking into each other's eyes.
I think there's one other animal, yeah. But I don't think they would look into each other's
Don't tell me
eyes.
it's like a dolphin or something. 'Cause they have to be. Do you know what I mean? Do they have to go?
It might be
If they entangle.
I wish I could fucking tell you, man.
What's that thing when dogs go butt to butt and they get linked up?
I don't know.
That's
Is that their balls?
How have we
No,
come to
I
this?
think he mates with her and his dick gets stuck.
Yeah.
But his dick gets stuck in there for some reason.
Yeah. Inflation.
It's always going down to inflation.
Inflammation, sorry.
Oh,
He
fuck.
has that inflamed dick.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna seriously research the fuck out of this ant thing because I'm interested.
I wanted to get some ants.
What, that little ant?
I wanted to get a little ant farm, yeah.
It's a bit unfair though, don't you? Those poor little things.
Yeah, all right, you're talking about pouring concrete into their fucking home. Look how deep it goes.
The largest ant nest ever found was 3,700 miles wide.
That's England.
Found in Argentina.
Argentina.
Argentina, mate, get it sorted out.
It's mad.
You can't be letting the ants do that.
That's, yeah. They've taken over Argentina at that point.
Holy shit! Imagine if everyone in Argentina had some sort of ant.
How do they know? That's a good question. Concrete.
Well, how will they know?
Concrete, mate.
Imagine.
Second batch. You've got to get a second
imagine
batch. This is a big one.
A second batch. Just the bag, the concrete bag. Oh my God. Miles.
Yeah, miles.
3,000.
To be specific. Yeah. Ants, man. Probably doing it better than us at this point. Or the Queens are, at least.
Yeah.
What a life.